Like the kids will do something, and instead of you getting like all crazy and, revved up, you'll usually talk to them pretty gently. And you just have this way of approaching that I've never really seen people do that often. It comes from a place of like grace and patience. That's like the best way I can describe it.
But there's also times where it's not the right time. Like, I know that if you're in not a great headspace, if I need to talk to you about something, I am not going to approach you when you're not doing well. I'll approach you more when we go and like have a sit down and just like having a good conversation and that kind of thing. And I will bring something up gently that way. I try to make it to where it's not going to be a heated discussion where we're yelling and people are saying things that they shouldn't be saying to each other and that kind of thing. I want to do it on a good occasion.
What's up, gentlemen? All right, so in your marriage, if you are ever confused about what role do I play in this thing, whatever this thing might be, or what role does she play in this thing, whatever this thing could be. And when I'm talking about things, I'm talking about what role do you guys play in parenting as it relates to raising your sons, raising your daughters? What role do you play? What role does she play? What role do you guys play when it comes to finances? So who pays the bills? Who makes the money? Who does the investing? Is it both of you? Is it one of you? What is it, right? Another thing too is like when it comes to chores like cooking dinner and cleaning up and who does what and all these other things. And also like who has certain conversations with kids. It's all about roles and it's all about expectations on today's podcast, because guess what? This is the thing that trips us up the most. It's unspoken expectations. It's unknowing expectations. It's all of these things that really, really trip us up. It's like, wait, I thought you were doing that. No, I thought you do that. No, I thought you were doing that. Jessica, I thought you were doing that.
Yeah, that was a very exciting intro.
Oh my, do you guys see the level of sarcasm that comes? You do realize with that one statement, you have now just, the audience wants you on every Friday show now. Because they like to see me getting shit like this.
Well, that I'm good at.
That, it's already way more lively than our last show. So
yeah, last show was a little.
Oh, it was. Before we jump in, let's talk about that. I think there's a lot of people out there. I was asking a few groups that I facilitate this past week. I was like, how many of you guys think that my life is like sunshine, rainbows, unicorns, like everything's great, no one has a problem, everybody's happy, like all that stuff. And like it was about 75% of the guys like raised their hand. They're like, yeah, I think you're like, I'm like, you guys are hilarious. Like you guys have no idea. Like there are definitely bad days and there are definitely days where just shit hits the fan. And there are days where you're tired and there are days you don't feel like yourself and you don't have the energy, but yet you're put up against a deadline and you got to get these things done. And our last show is, I think, kind of exactly that. We had just come off of like being away for a few days and being exhausted with the kids, and like our energy was really not so fantastic on the last show.
Yeah, it wasn't. But I mean, yeah, we did that float trip. That was just exhausting for some reason.
You do realize that 90% of the audience right now has no clue what a float trip is, right? It's only for us,
I know,
like crazy Midwest people that know what a float trip is. So you should probably explain that.
I think you have on podcasts before.
I haven't. I've only explained them in mastermind groups.
Oh.
So it's only the clients and the members that know what a flow trip is. We have a good laugh about it, but the audience, yeah, I'm sure there's people in the Midwest like, I know what a flow trip is, but people on the West and East Coast, other countries, they have no clue what you're talking about. So you might as well explain that one.
Oh, it's just where we go float down the river. It's super exciting.
Oh my gosh. Do you realize what serious rednecks we sound like when we say stuff like, they're like people look at me like we've been doing this all our lives.
Yeah, we have.
Right? If you live here, but people outside of like the Midwest, like I told this to one of our coaches his name's Mark. He lives in San Diego. He's like, I'm sorry, a float trip? What's that? And I was like, a float trip? You've never heard float? And he's like, no. And I explained it the exact same way that you just explained it. He's like, how's that fun?
Okay, but if you know what camping is, it's pretty much you're hanging out, camping, but there's a river involved.
There's a river. There's giant prehistoric horse flies that land on you.
Yeah, but that's in August.
That's in August, which we went in August.
Yeah.
You know, I joke with people. I was like, this is where people from Missouri get in inner tubes that is in water that's probably about 8 inches deep. And then we floated about 1 mile per hour, getting ridiculously drunk while we hit on our cousins.
I mean, some people may do that. We don't do that. Usually we find like a rope swing and a cliff area to jump and that kind of stuff. So it's still fun.
It is fun, and it is memorable for sure.
Yes.
Like, and it
The
is.
place we stay has a pool,
It's
and
true.
volleyball, and a playground.
And horse flies that are prehistoric.
Yeah. And fire pit and sit around the fire pit
Yeah.
and talk.
And enough junk food to like, what was the meme that you sent? Was it like, you live in the Midwest when you know what these terms are on these float trips, so you have more snacks than you do first aid items or something like that?
I sent that.
I thought you did, or maybe your brother did.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe one of us did.
It was just really fun.
I did send something. Oh, I did send that. I put it in the group. I don't remember what it all said though.
Let me pull it up while we're talking about this, because yeah, it was like, it was so Midwesterner, and it did totally encapsulate like what it's like here and what these things are all about. So here it is. I found it. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is really long.
We don't
Okay.
read the whole thing.
No, we do. If you're from the Midwest, if you go camping and float down a river and call it a vacation.
Yep.
That's number one. Number two, a cooler, a campfire, and no cell service is your idea of luxury. You pack more snacks than clothes for a weekend trip. That's true.
That is so true.
You think bugs, burnt marshmallows, backaches are just part of the fun. You drive 3 hours for a quick getaway. You use the phrase, the river is low this year, to certify that you're like a hydrologist. You shouted, rocks, 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 like it's code red emergency. That is so true.
Or tree.
Or tree, branches. You've held onto somebody's raft like your life depended on it, because quite frankly, it probably did. Your river playlist. Oh my God, this is so true. Your river playlist is Morgan Wallen, Nelly, and something your mom listens to.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's so true. Oh my God. Oh my God. You've debated if it's thunder or someone else's bass speaker upstream.
And that happened this year early. Oh my God. Because it was thundering, but then we weren't sure if it was someone's bass.
You've panicked over losing your sunglasses only to realize that they're on your head.
Yep.
I do that, not on the river. Like, they're always on my hat. Like, they actually could be right now. Oh, they're not. You've turned your float into a family tradition. We did that years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've compared your sunburns like they are next day war wounds. So there's that. You've peed in the water without shame, calling it part of nature. That is so true too. And then the last one, you've passed strangers on rafts and waved to them like it's a neighborhood block party.
It is.
Like we're best friends all of a sudden.
Yep. And they talk to you through the whole thing. We were singing that solo cup song, and people just started chiming in with us.
You are seriously like just making this worse and worse. And the funny thing is you sent that list into our chat group, which was really funny.
Yep.
I love you.
Well, I love you too.
I just love, seriously, like, these are the things that make me like love us and love you, is just like, we can just laugh about this shit as the day is long. And here's the funny thing. We laugh about this, but we know like how deeply sentimental these memories are to us as well. Like, some of our best memories have been on these trips.
Yeah. Well, and last year we didn't go, and the kids were actually really upset that we didn't go.
So. Oh yeah. Yeah, they really were. And next year we're going to like up the ante a little bit and even have like a campsite, not just a cabin, but a campsite for the kids. So that's going to be good. But all right, so that is the plan. But yeah, our last our last podcast was, in my opinion, kind of lackluster a little bit, and I think a lot of it actually was my energy and not so much yours. But like I was so wiped out. But so yeah, sorry for the last episode, guys. My energy sucked. You looked beautiful as ever, and so there's that.
I mean, we were both low in energy, but there's still content.
There's still stuff to think about. But I think today's show is going to be better. My vote was to talk about our sex life. Jessica voted that wasn't the greatest idea since we have our kids that now listen to this podcast. So it's probably a good
I don't
thing.
think it's necessary.
It's not. I actually offered up that, since we're on YouTube, we should just, video the act itself.
I'm not a porn star.
You looked. Oh my God, there's so many things I could say right now that I'm just not. But that are anyway. Let's get to today's show. So what we're going to talk about today is roles and what you do and what I do, and then how we identified these things. And to be honest, though, like I look at these things as over the past recent years, they've been kind of the easy button for us, I think. But before that, they were not. I think they caused strife. I think they caused arguments. I think they caused sometimes resentment. Like I know one of the things we're going to be talking about today is like, and by the way, I don't blame you in the very least, because I want to kill these children when I have slaved over a dinner, all for them to say how bad it sucks. And it's just demoralizing. It's almost like I seriously want to kill you right now. Like it took me 2 hours to make this and you're complaining about it, really? So, yeah.
Well, that, and then I resorted to making like 3 different meals in a night, which that was even worse. And I still had complainers.
Yeah, you did.
Hey,
We need more variety. We need everyone to have their own meal.
I don't know. That's a lot of work.
But that's what I mean. Like sometimes if these things aren't dealt with right, like resentment can set in.
Yeah.
And we've all been there. And I think that there's a lot of couples that have been there that when they're doing something in the marriage or in the relationship or for the family or whatever, let's just call it for what it is. They don't like it. It's not one of their strengths. They despise it. They loathe it. They resent it. And then on top of it, like maybe the kids don't even appreciate it. So that all the while the person is probably like, why in God's name am I doing this? Like this probably maybe something I shouldn't be doing.
I mean, I used to like cooking when we lived on our very first house. Like I liked cooking, but it got to the point where it was taking up so much time. And then when someone would complain, it was just, I got to the point where I was getting tired of it. I don't like to cook anymore.
I know you don't. I used to love your cooking.
I know. And now it just boring stuff.
It is.
I'm sorry. It's okay. When you have 4 kids and a dog and all the other stuff that you have to manage, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
I mean, I make things on occasion. Like you guys did like my stroganoff the other day.
So here's where I think, like, I joke that your food is boring, right? But like your food
is.
But your food is also, you cook food for more of the kids.
I
right?
do because we have sports and everything.
Right.
We gotta do something quick a lot of times.
We gotta do something quick, and quick isn't necessarily and you and I are like health freaks. So like when it comes to like doing something quick, it's usually that's like that I don't want to eat that. Like you don't want to eat that. So yeah, and the kids, I mean, they kind of get used to like this, but we're kind of hamstringed also by our schedules, and sometimes we eat together and sometimes we don't, but sometimes we also need food to be like, okay, hey, this is in the oven, or it's in you can heat it back up or whatever else, versus like, oh, we just made this roast with all these fresh vegetables and oh, you got to go, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like during the week, I think it's harder, but like here's the interesting thing. Like, yes, your food is like probably not that exciting, but the way you decorate this house is off the charts. Like it's so warm, it's so cozy, it's so homey in here. If that was left to me, it would be, no one would want to live here. It would be disastrous. The kids would be like, this sucks.
Wow. Bachelor pad.
It'd be a bachelor pad. So we're going to talk about things like that today. So let's talk about the first thing that kind of tripped us up here, and that's our finances.
Okay.
So I was in charge of the bills for the first 5 years of our marriage. And why don't you go ahead and give your perspective on that one, on what that felt like for you? And I'll give mine on what it felt like for me, but why don't you go first?
Well, you were just very quick to pay everything off, and it kind of put us in a bind sometimes. I'll never forget there was one time we were at our very first house, we were newly married, and we wanted to go to Florida, and we had it planned out, but we didn't have the money for it because you paid down our student loans too quickly. And luckily, we got like a tax return, but we were able to go. But I'll never forget, I talked to my mom. I was like, I don't know how we're going to pay for some stuff right now because everything's been paid down very, very quickly. So,
It was such a rookie. So I jumped on the Dave Ramsey bandwagon. I
yeah,
read the Total Money Makeover. And just to give you guys like I mean, I've talked about this on other podcasts, but like when you and I graduated college, combined debt was 60K in student loans. We just went out and brought a brand new car, a brand new Saturn View. You remember our 2003 Saturn View?
I do.
Yeah, we thought we had arrived. We were like ballers at that point. Brand new car. I think that might have been, was that the first and last brand new car we ever bought? I mean, I have a Jeep that I leased that was new, but that was a lease. But I don't think we've ever bought a brand new car, have we? Ever?
No, no, we've always bought used.
Yeah, we've always bought used, and I think that car was 25 grand. So right there, that's 85,000, right? That we're in debt, and then we had just bought a house,
Yeah,
and that was at the time it wasn't very expensive. It was 175,000, but right out of the word go, like we're in it for like 250 grand, and we're just brand new, newly married, and I was like, and now granted, I look back on that, and I think to myself now, I'm like, oh, it's not so bad, but we didn't have a family yet. Our finances were super tight. And I read that book, The Total Money Makeover, and I got really excited about not having any debt.
yeah, I
And,
remember that.
and I wanted to pay off everything except for the house. So 85 grand I wanted to pay off. And for the first 5 years of me doing the bills, I did achieve that. Like that
Which
we,
I'm glad now, but back then it was stressful.
but it was so reckless,
Yeah,
right? So like this is where I think roles and a communication breakdown don't really work well. So like let me just talk real quickly about my role paying the bills. I hated it. Like I absolutely hated it. I don't know what it is about like paying bills, but like no matter how much money we have in the bank, no matter how much, doesn't matter. I hate seeing money leave.
right.
It's almost like, oh, like writing that check to even like our mortgage. I'm like, ugh, like I hate seeing it go out. And like it would stress me out. And I tracked every single dollar that went out. And I just got really overwhelmed. And I wanted that stress to go away. And I thought the quickest way for that stress to go away was just to not have the debt, not have the bills. And so no matter how much money we got our hands on, even if I got a big bonus check, all of it went to debt. We got a tax return, all of it went to the debt.
Yep.
We got something that, like, I remember giving my birthday money to debt. Like, I'd get $100 for a birthday. I'd put $100 on whatever, right? And I think it might have been, were we maybe in a counseling session, or was it? It might even have been my dad and my stepmom, where they just kind of, we were talking to them through this, or we were talking to somebody through this, and they were like, "Why don't you let Jessica do the bills?"
I think it was Larry and Lisa. We used to sit and talk with them all the time, and I think we were talking about that to them.
We did, and she basically, so my stepmom was like, you need to focus on going out and making the money. Like you need to bring in more so you can pay off more. And you're not going to be able to do that if you're all wrapped up in paying the bills.
Yeah,
And you didn't have, I don't think, the emotional, I think, baggage of money and bills that I did.
right.
Maybe, I know you didn't grow up with money, but I didn't either. But like it emotionally like pained me to deal with money.
Yeah,
And it didn't so much for you. It was more kind of like high level transactional. I know also you get stressed out by it. You're like, you don't like seeing a lot of money go out, or you don't like seeing your account get too low.
right.
But I think it seems like your tolerance for it is it's different than mine. It's better than mine.
Yeah. I mean, we all have strengths and weaknesses, and I just think that that's just one that you had a hard time with, and then I didn't really have any. I don't know. It didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, it didn't. And you've you've had that responsibility for 17 years now
Yeah.
of paying the bills. I mean, I, d- we don't really talk about like your responsibility of paying bills. We talk more high level about just our finances and what we're going to do with it and that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I'd just love to actually like just check in on you like live, like right now. Like, what are your thoughts on still paying the bills? Are you still okay with it? Does it bother you? Like,
No, it never bothers me. I mean, it keeps me accountable for like what's going in and out for groceries and that kind of thing. And because I do all of that, that's usually my job. I mean, you go on occasion, but I usually do most of the shopping for school supplies or grocery shopping or whatever we have going on, even the medical bills. So if I know that major things are coming out, I usually just kind of check in with you like, hey, just be aware that if you're going to be spending money, these bills have just come in and they're higher. So it just I feel like it doesn't bother me at all. I don't like when the checking account gets low or if we have to transfer money, that kind of makes me nervous, but I feel like we always make it make it work with everything we have going on.
I think we do. Yeah, for sure. We do make it work. But that's good to know that it's okay with you. Because
Yeah.
to be honest, I would despise doing that again.
Yeah.
I would not like it.
But I don't like doing investments and you do.
I do, and which is our second actually financial thing. So like I do all the investing. So I work with our financial advisor, or I'm the one who goes out and does like the investing in the real estate and like our real estate portfolio, or invest in different companies and that kind of thing. Which I talked to you about that stuff, bring you into it, also see if you have any objections. But I also know that there's a big part of you that has like zero desire to even understand that. Like you're just like,
Yep.
it's not my thing.
That's
It's not. Why is that? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I I don't know if it's just like I haven't totally picked up and understood it. Like I never sat down to really understand it. And I feel like because I don't understand it, I don't want to do it. But I mean, it's no different than me like trying to decorate a house for myself. Like I'm gonna like probably research it and decide what I like and what I don't like. But I just had no desire to do that with money.
That makes sense. I got to be honest. Like when I first started investing, just over 20 years ago, it was so overwhelming to me.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a mentor. Like I've worked with him. I don't know if you remember the guy I used to work with named David, who would I'd always have lunch with him, and he'd always teach me about investing. And I worked with him at Cardinal Health, and he taught me a ton. And then, but now I just absolutely love it. Like I really love it. And here's the crazy thing, though. Like I can somehow stomach losing a decent amount of money, and I'll just put it that way, just a decent amount of money on a stock or an investment that didn't go well.
Yeah.
I'll be like, because I know that going into it, I'm like, well, I know that if I'm putting money into this, there's a risk that it won't work out.
Right.
Um, and I've had money like one of them was I don't know if I doubt I ever told you this, so this will be a bit of a bomb I drop on you, but it was money I was going to invest anyway into a real estate deal. The real estate deal fell through. So it was going to be quite a bit of money that the real estate was going to go through. So I took a small portion of it. I took $5,000 of the lump sum of money I was going to invest, and I invested it in crypto
Oh.
and lost my rear end. Lost all of it, every bit of it. That sucked. I was just like, oh. But I also knew that where I was investing it, it was extremely volatile. Crypto is very volatile. Volatile. Oh my God, I can't even talk. Volatile. There it is. Volatile.
It's gonna start sounding
Right.
wrong in a minute if you keep saying it.
But I knew that it was very volatile, and I actually knew going into it. I was like, I'm willing to take a chance on losing this for the chance that there's a tremendous upside, just to see what happens.
Yeah.
And that it sucked, but it sucked a lot less than like getting hit with a $5,000 bill that I had to pay out of nowhere. That for some reason that feels way worse to me.
That's kind of interesting though.
Maybe it's because like I have to pay somebody else for something that maybe I didn't expect, or maybe I expected, or it's a bill that came in, or a medical bill, and I'm like, God bless, that sucks. I would have much rather have, rolled the dice on an investment to see if that would have worked out. I felt like maybe it's more of a control thing.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, but luckily most of the investments have worked out really, really well. But I do love the investing side of it. And I got to be honest, like the fact that you really do well with paying the bills, and you kind of come to me and report to me on like what your responsibility is with paying bills. Like, hey, we got this, we got this, we got this going on. We're doing pretty good here. We're doing okay there. We got enough money in the bank here, there, whatever. And then I can also come to you and be like, hey, well, also good news here. We've made money here. We've made money there. This investment's doing good. This one's going to pay off in next May. This one's going to pay off in November. Like this one's doing really, really well. And I've also had to come to you when like our account, I'm like, holy crap, look at this. We lost a ton.
Yeah.
Like when the um when they voted Trump in, and they were going through they were just basically, it was voting season. Like the market was so volatile. And I remember one day, like six figures were gone. I mean, they've all bounced back,
Right.
but it's just like, holy cow. Like that, just to see those swings sometimes kind of hurt. But that's been our journey with bill paying and investing. And here's the thing, I want to wrap this one up with this. You feel pretty good about being in that spot
Yeah.
as far as like you paying the bills.
Yeah.
I feel really good about being investing. And those are roles that quite frankly I wouldn't really want to swap.
Yeah.
I like them the way they are.
I agree with that.
And let me ask you this, if we were to swap them out, or like one of us were to take on both, like let's just say if suddenly you're taking on investing too, do you think that you would kind of feel that heaviness, like almost like the dinner thing, like, ugh, I really don't want to do this?
Well, yeah, I feel like that's intimidating to me because I don't really understand it. So I think that would be really hard.
That makes sense. Um, but I'm glad we're both in our sweet spot with that. Let's talk about cooking,
Okay.
because one thing I've realized as well is that family dinners can be a major strife for families, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. Number one, one person always feels like they're doing all the work.
Yeah.
So there's like, I have to do the cooking and the cleaning. So like one person usually feels like they're doing that. Another one is it could be a bit triggering because our family is just so busy, we don't have time to eat together. So that's a triggering thing for a lot of people, or we're eating like with half our family. Um, but the dinner thing I found is something that most families want to do, and they want to have good feelings around it. But unfortunately, there's kind of a lot of turmoil around it because there's so much pressure to, number one, do it. But then the responsibility falls on usually one person. So over the years, like you were talking about, you've cooked early on, you still cook. I would say you also did the majority of the cleaning up too when it came to dinners early on. But when do you think it became pretty clear to you that you're just like, maybe you kind of got the feeling that I did doing the bills, where I'm just like, God bless, I hate doing this more than anything. Like for you, when it came to cooking, like when did you fall into the decision of like, I really don't know if I like this. This is not fun for me anymore.
I mean, I felt that way for a long time, but I don't feel like we did anything about it until not that long ago. I would say maybe a year or so ago, because we started, I just flat out just told you I hate cooking. Like, I think it was one of those times where one of the kids were complaining and then another kid started complaining, and I just looked at you and I'm like, I hate this. I just hate cooking. And I remember you were like, well, let's just sit down and talk about this. So it ended up being where you would cook certain days and I would cook certain days, and we would just try to like decide on who was doing it that week. And then, like, if that person cooked, the other person cleaned up, and that was so much better. And now we have it where the kids kind of do, well, we haven't done it this summer, but the kids take turns with dishes, which has been helpful.
Do you think, so what was it about the cooking that you didn't like? Because I know this, obviously the audience sometimes would give you grief, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
that was one big aspect, is like when people would be like, I don't like this.
It was time because I am always doing something. I'm very busy with everything I'm doing. Like, I did not want to stop what I was doing just because I needed to start dinner because it always ended up being like an hour, sometimes longer to make everything. And then it was a mess because I'm a messy cooker. And I would have stuff everywhere. And I've learned to like clean up after myself, but it's still very hard to like keep going because you're making all these different things and cutting up vegetables and whatnot. So I don't know. It's just, I think time was just one of the bigger culprits because I didn't want to stop what I was doing just to like make dinner. And I just felt like it was a couple hour process with making dinner, eating dinner, cleaning up dinner.
Yeah, like literally eats up the majority of the eating if you really think about it, if you're not efficient with it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the fact that the kids would be like, I don't like this. Some kids, it wasn't like that with every meal. I mean, I think some of the kids were like half of your audience would be like, I like this. The other half would be like, I don't. Like sometimes it was never you could please everybody, which is really defeating.
Yeah. Well, that and it was also like, I would get to the point where I'm like, okay, I know Lawson doesn't like pasta and I know this person doesn't like this. Like it was very hard to come up with stuff too because I would like make a list and I'd be like, okay, I don't want to make all this if they're not going to eat it. So I would start asking them about, okay, will you try this? Will you eat this? There's times I wouldn't do that, but I don't know. It's just hard to come up with ideas as well because there's just I don't know. A lot of it takes a lot more time than you think. If you're gonna look up a recipe, they say it's a 15-minute prep time. No, it's not.
It's never a 15-minute prep time. Like I think
Even like the HelloFresh, because we did that for like a little
we did.
a hot minute.
Yeah.
That was always longer than I thought.
Yeah, it's like, what was it? I can't remember what the saying is. Oh yeah, it's like whatever that time is, just double it. Like I can't remember what it is about life, and people would say that, but yeah, it's always dinner. Like whatever time it's tell you they're gonna say, just double it. So again, going back to this, it wasn't just the people saying like, "Hey, I don't like this." There's an entire like, if you really think about it, there's an entire day and even week that's wrapped around dinners. So like, think about that. Someone saying they don't like pasta, but they like rice. That's one kid. Then there's another kid. It's like, I don't like rice, but I like chicken. And then there's another kid's like, well, I don't really like chicken, but I like grilled cheese. Like, let's just take out the scenario of you cooking dinner that one night. Now you got to go to the grocery store, and you got to think about the next 5 to 6 days of cooking. And it's just like, oh my god, like what variety of things do I even have to buy for one night this week? Not to mention all 6 nights this week that we're going to be eating together, right?
Yeah.
So that would impact your planning of the grocery shopping, right?
Yep.
It would probably also impact the amount of time that you were going to be spending like cooking that meal, right? Because it's like, well, if it was the easy button, like I just take this thing and put it in the oven, 45 minutes later, it's done. Everybody's happy and eating. That's pretty easy. But instead, I have to cook this meal for this kid for that meal, this kid for that meal. Like, and it's just, and all the while, like you're doing all this work and then they're still telling you they don't like it.
Well, that and like I don't know when we would do some of the easy stuff like buy in bulk. Like the meals already prepped. I would just stick it in the oven, and then the kids were complaining that we didn't have enough home cooked meals.
Right. I remember that too. And that was like a home cooked meal. That was like that company that's up the street that like they actually specialize in scratch made home cooked meals that you can like literally just pick up and put in the oven. Like it was like legit, like not like Hello Fresh or anything. Like you go like some of your mom would make for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but or like getting the kit from like Sam's or anything like or a lasagna tray. It didn't matter. It wasn't home cooked enough.
My God, we've got some high maintenance children and they're boys.
I mean, they're not all high maintenance. I feel like most of them, well, some of them eat.
They do. So here's the cool thing though. Like you don't necessarily like cooking. I do like to cook. Like it's very like sort of therapeutic for me to cook and to cook something. I don't know. Like I look at it as like is such a not a good thing though. Like, because they always talk about like how fat people grew up and their mom would love them with food. You know what I mean? Like that's what I feel like I do with these kids. Like I love them with food a little bit, so I always try to make that.
You do, and you give huge portions.
I do. I really
You're
do.
like screaming on them, like, Lawson and Colton are going to eat that
I know.
much.
You're always good to remind me on that word. But I actually I don't mind cooking as long as I know what I'm cooking.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that's good for me. The cleanup thing, I think we've gotten better about with because the kids we've gotten away from it over the summer, I think.
we have.
But the
Because
kids
people aren't always here.
they aren't always here. And but the kids do pull their weight with the cleanup now too. So we have one kid who sweeps, one kid who wipes off the table, one kid who puts stuff in the fridge, one kid who does the dishes. We take our turn with the dishes all the time, which I think is good. But that I honestly think, and I still don't think we have the dinner thing fully figured out. I don't think we ever will. Like I don't think every night is going to be like, oh, this is awesome, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's so much better than what it was.
Yeah. And there are going to be times where you make something and it was a flop.
Sure.
I've done that a couple times.
Let me ask you this question just to check in with you too, because I think one of the cool things about this podcast is it's not only something that we're giving to the audience, but I think it's very life giving to both of us. And it's a really good time for us to check in. But is there anything that you think needs to be improved? Like things that maybe we aren't doing that we need to be doing when it comes to dinners? Maybe things that we are doing that we shouldn't be doing when it comes to dinners? Or even do you wish that I went to the grocery store more? Things like that. Like just anything like if you could like make a wish for like, hey, I kind of wish this would get tightened up a little bit, or this was a little better, or this was a little different. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Not, no, not necessarily. I mean, I feel like it's always been kind of my thought process that I'm the one that does the grocery shopping. There's been times you have because you're going to do dinner that night or that weekend or something like that. But I think the biggest thing that I didn't like that we did, or I did, is make different meals for each kid. I feel like I've always grown up to where what is put in front of you is what you have for dinner. And if you don't like it, then that's on you.
It's bread and crusts and water.
No, it's like you just don't eat.
Yeah.
And I never implemented that. And I kind of wish that I did and made the kids eat a little bit out of their comfort zone because I feel like they become really picky about foods.
So true.
Even vegetables.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't eat hardly any vegetables and I cannot get them to eat with their vegetables.
Well, I think I don't even know where we went wrong with that one either because like um I have a feeling I kind of know. And maybe it's because we've done this. And like so you and I don't eat what the family usually eats.
No, we don't.
Because we eat like insanely healthy. Like we go to the farmer's market and we buy like the farm lettuce and the microgreens and we get our meat and everything from like these small farms that have higher quality standards. And granted the kids get that kind of meat and stuff too, but they're not eating, I don't think, nearly as healthy as I mean like if you look at our plate or like our bowl, it's like 80% vegetables.
You're right.
I mean like that is like it's a ton of vegetables and it's a lean protein and it's usually a carbohydrate and that kind of thing. But the kids they're eating like they do eat some of the they do when we have meat they will eat the meat and that kind of thing, but they usually steer clear of the vegetables and stuff like that. And I think that that's been a miss on our mark because we're just like, well, we're kind of eating what we prefer to eat, so maybe we should be eating what they prefer to eat. Like I don't even know if that's how we've justified it in our own minds, but I don't even know where we kind of got away from like, well, this is dinner.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it got to the point where it was like so much complaining that I just wanted them to eat something.
Yeah.
But they used to eat like broccoli and salad and all that stuff. And now it's like, I don't know if they got burnt out. I know Mason got really sick on salad one time and now it's hard for him to eat salads. But I don't know. It's just, they just don't like certain foods. And they've never really liked carrots. And I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Even like potatoes and stuff like that.
Well, I think that is a texture thing for them. And we've always had kids that had texture issues.
So true. Yeah. We should do what they did in the Goonies, what the woman did to Chunk, where like he asked for water and she's like, "It's wet, ain't it? Drink it." It was like brown water.
Really gross.
Yeah, just put the food in front of them and be like, "Is this what we're eating?" "Yep, eat it." All right. Well, let's talk about this. One of the roles that we have, and maybe this is because we have boys, but I think we've always kind of given the sex talk role to me.
Yeah.
Just because maybe we have the same equipment.
Well, that, and I think they would feel uncomfortable talking to me about that. Plus, I can't relate.
True. What would you do if they did ask you about it?
I would talk to them about it.
You
I
would?
mean, they've asked me questions. I just don't go into a whole lot of detail.
Yeah.
I feel like I always say, "Oh, you should ask your dad about that one."
Yeah. I always make a rule with the guy. I was like, I always tell the kids, I was like, I'll answer any question that you have except for anything that me and your mom do together. I won't answer those questions.
Yeah.
So like if the kids would be like, "Oh, do you mom do that?" I'd be like, "There's no comment."
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that.
yeah. But I do think I'm really, really comfortable having that conversation with them. Like we talk about sex, porn, masturbation. I just had the sex talk with Lawson last week. And I don't know, it's always like really surprising to me, like just how sort of receptive they are to it. And like it's like I even told him like I told him before I started having the conversation with him, I was like, "Hey, I was like, I know it seems like a really crazy question, but how much do you know about sex?" And he's like, "I think I know pretty much everything." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, why don't you tell me?" Turns out he really didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't.
He didn't know
He
anything.
just knows what people talk about at
Right.
school.
He knows body parts and all that good stuff, but I did tell him this, which I don't know if I told you this or not, but like I told him, I was like, "Hey, before we have this conversation, I just want to tell you how insanely uncomfortable I am to talk to you about this
Yeah.
and how awkward it is for me to talk to you about this. Like it's really awkward, like, and it's uncomfortable." And I tell the kids that I was like, "I'm telling you that because I know you're uncomfortable
Right.
and it's awkward for you, but I want to let you know that you're not allowed."
Right.
Like we both feel this way. But I've always been pretty comfortable having that conversation with them. And I never, whether they're asking me questions and I just tell them very bluntly what everything is. Because I figure I always run it past my filter of they're either going to learn this from me or the internet. So they better learn it from me
Or friends.
or friends.
And I'd rather them learn it from you to know the right thing.
I always tell them this too. I was like, whatever we talk about, like I told Lawson this, I was like, whatever we talk about, like imagine like a bubble around us. Like this stays between you and me.
Yeah.
In other words, you know, you do not go and talk to your friends about this.
Yeah.
And I was like, and do you know why? And he kind of didn't know why. I was like, here's the thing. I was like, some of your friends know about this stuff and some don't. Some of your friends' parents have had the opportunity to talk to your friends about this and some haven't. I was like, you never want to jump ahead of somebody else's parents
Yeah.
and give them information that they don't know yet. I was like, so that's not your conversation to ever have. Okay.
Perfect.
And he's like, okay, no problem. But yeah, I think just approaching it like with that. Um, Anything else you want to share about that?
I don't think there's anything I can share about that. I mean, because that's not my department.
I don't know. You're pretty good in that department. Uh,
I learn from the best.
who have you learned from?
You.
Am I the best?
Well, that's all I know.
Oh, see, your answer to that was yes. You are the best. There is no one else.
There is no one else.
That's true, but you're supposed to say the best.
You are the best. I said that.
Every guy out there knows exactly where I'm coming from with that. Okay, so the final thing is this. I really lean on you, and I think this is more your sweet spot in your wheelhouse for having better conversations with the kids. Even though like I podcast about this stuff, I talk about this stuff, I've wrote about it in my books, but I got to be really honest, where I've really learned a lot of this stuff is from you. And that is like, and I would say definitely like I don't know what it is with like, and I even hear you give the kids advice and I'm even talking about the little guys. Like when one of the little guys is having drama with their friends, or like one of the older boys is having issues with a friend or a girlfriend, and you're like, hey, have you thought about approaching them like this and saying this? And I'll listen to it and I'm like, oh my God, it's freaking genius. It's so much better than what I would have done or said. Like you have this way of, it is like the most gentle, welcoming approach to conversations that you just feel automatically comfortable having. And so, like, and I'll explain this to the audience. So, anytime we're having an issue with one of the kids, my go to is to just go downstairs, bang on their door, and be like, hey, man, what the hell's up with this?
Right.
And you don't. You were like a ninja. You were like, you need to pick the right time. You need the right opportunity. You need the right words. You need the right tone. And here's what it all looks like. And you can just belt it out like it's nobody's business. Like it's almost the easiest thing in the world for you to do. But like, where did you learn that? Or is it just something that you just think you might be innately pretty good at?
I don't think I mean, I don't know that I've learned it from anything. I just know what feels comfortable to me. Like, you're just, you react, and I just don't. I have to think about it. I need to process what happened. I need to really think about how that will affect them if I say it's a certain way. I don't know. It's just something, I don't know where I've learned that. I just do it.
So can we break this down for a second? Maybe give the guys a real world example, because I think this is really useful if you're a parent
Okay.
or even a spouse. So let's just take it from a spouse point of view. I'm sure that there's probably, is there anything I've done here recently where you're just like, oh, you were driving me crazy with that thing you do, or that whatever, like I might have done something just totally not good. Maybe not bad, but you're just like, you were annoyed by it.
No, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, we talked about this, I think, before. I think we talked about it on the podcast where, like, you would just come in and you didn't know the situation, and then you automatically jump to conclusions and start reacting towards someone that they didn't do or did do or something. And then I'd be like, okay, hold on. You don't know the story. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, I think you're great at that. I also think you're great at, like I know in some of the other podcasts we've talked about, you years ago, you come and talk to me about like you were concerned about how much I was drinking in a season.
Right.
But the way that you would approach that, it was never, ever, ever like, hey, I need to talk to you about your drinking. Like something's not right here. We need to sit down and talk about this. Like you've never approached anything like that. You always were really, really good with whatever it is you were going to say about something that we needed to talk about. It like welcomed me into the conversation. Like, oh yeah, okay, let's talk about that. Versus like, even if I knew it was something like, I would say detrimental that I was doing or something that wrong that I did. I also see you do this with the kids. Like the kids will do something, and instead of you getting like all crazy and, revved up, you'll usually talk to them pretty gently. And you just have this way of approaching that I've never really seen people do that often. It comes from a place of like grace and patience. That's like the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. But there's also times where it's not the right time. Like, I know that if you're in not a great headspace, if I need to talk to you about something, I am not going to approach you when you're not doing well. I'll approach you more when we go and like have a sit down and just like having a good conversation and that kind of thing. And I will bring something up gently that way. But I'm not going to do it while you're at the heat of a moment type of situation either. And I do that with the kids as well. There's times I'll be like, hey, I want to talk to you about this, but you need to give me a minute, you know? So I try to make it to where it's not going to be a heated discussion where we're yelling and people are saying things that they shouldn't be saying to each other and that kind of thing. I want to do it on a good occasion.
I like that. And how do you know when to pick the right time?
You just know.
Oh,
I don't know. It's like, I feel like I can read people very well. And I know that, okay, I know This kid didn't have very much sleep. I know that that's why he's reacting to what's going on. I'm going to wait and talk to him when things are a little bit better. And I will put a bug in his ear about it, but sometimes, not always. But then I can be like, hey, you remember that day that you were really snarky towards me? I want you to understand that I don't want you to talk to me like that. I know you didn't have very much sleep, but that's not okay. And half the time the kids are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I did do that. So,
Well, that's good.
why you look at everyone?
I just didn't know if there was more. Like
Oh,
if you had more to say, like because you just seemed like you might have, were gonna keep going, but
no, but I do that with you too. So, I mean, I just know that there's time to, I'm not going to be like, you're in a bad mood or something and I want to talk to you about you drinking too much. I'm not going to be like, hey, I don't like the way you're acting and you drink too much.
you do realize that everybody listening to this podcast in the month of August is gonna think I have a serious drinking problem, right? Like we've really shined a spotlight on these times when I've been when I drank more than I should have.
Well, that was a while ago, though.
Yeah,
You haven't drank in over a year.
true. But going back to this, so like I think this is where you could coach and advise me because here's my thought process. I don't want there to be another minute of us not addressing this. So like and almost like to the point where like I have to take care of this now. Otherwise, I'm just going to ruminate on it and think about it constantly. So I have to like tamp it down, squash it, take care of it, resolve it right now. And like that's where like the urgency comes from. So like this whole thing of like you play like chess when it comes to this, I think. Like you're very strategic in when you approach and when you move and that kind of thing. I'm more like battleship. Like
Yeah.
C6. That didn't work. All right, M72. That's more like I don't know what that was. This stuff.
That was a weird analogy.
You know what I mean? I'm just like go. I just like go, right? I don't like think about like, oh, well, maybe I should move my rook over here. No, that wouldn't really work well because then he'll react this way and then he'll move that other thing. So, I'm going to take my queen and move it over here and then my bishop or it's like very strategic the way you do it. You read people, you approach well, you know the words to say, and then I think you do a much better and effective job of resolving things because you know the person, the situation, the space that they're in, and when.
Yes. There are times, though, if I'm pretty heated, I'm going to bring something up. Like, there's times I do that, but it's not as often. And I'm not saying it's days. I'm saying it's like 30 minutes. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, we need to step away from this situation for a second. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. Yeah. I get that. Um, well, as we wrap up here, because we've been going for almost an hour, we've talked about paying bills versus investing, like that role, the cooking and the cleaning, having the sex talk with the kids, the approach of people in this family. Is there anything you think of that we haven't talked about that we sort of lean into our roles?
Um, I mean, your role is pretty much, I don't know. I mean, my stuff is more the house, your stuff's more the work. But the bills, yeah. I mean, I would say I do the cleaning for the most part. There's days that you will do the kitchen for me because it's what you know. And then you'd be like, I don't know where this stuff goes.
Is that how I talk?
I
I
don't
don't know where this stuff goes.
I don't know that you talk like that, but
That's the way I think, though. That's the voice in my head. I don't know where this goes. Where did this go? Maybe over here. I'll put it over here. See if she finds
oh,
it.
you're a stacker. You just put things underneath the microwave or you stack in the sink.
I do. I am a stacker. That's for sure. What about kids activities? And I would say actually not even activities, but I would say sports.
Yeah.
Where would you think our roles align there?
Um, we just talk about that. We just talk about, hey, we have taekwondo, football, and this kind of thing this week. when do you want to take and when do you not? You know, like we just talk about our days. Like sometimes I have something going on and then I'll be like, hey, I need you to take to football this week because I have to do this. I mean, I feel like it's just more of a communication thing.
I agree. I've always made this assumption though, whether this assumption is right or wrong, that I am always the point for like the first person for activities. So if there's like a taekwondo thing, like I just assume I'm taking him. Or if there's a football practice, I just assume I'm taking him. Unless it's like a Tuesday, Thursday thing like we've experienced here recently where we have taekwondo and football at the same time, then we do have to divide and conquer. But I kind of get the feeling like on which by the way I'm fine with. Like games, I always feel like it's both of us. Like it's always games or meets or something like that. It's always both of us. I feel like for practices though, it's usually like I'm usually the designated Uber for like stuff like
I
that.
feel like that's half and half.
Do you?
Yeah, I do because I always think that I need to take. It's always on my radar. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to take. And I think it's because you think I'm the designated person, but like not me, but you. But I don't usually think, oh, he's going to take tonight unless we have talked about it, you know. I think
Fair.
I think it's more of just what you're thinking.
I only think that way because I'm like, they're boys, they're doing boy sports. So shouldn't I be the one to be taking them to their boy sport practice? Like, I don't know. It's weird. But like if I had, like if we had daughters and it was dance recital, I'd be like, I mean, I would still take them and I'd still want to watch them and all that stuff, but I probably wouldn't feel like as much ownership as I do. Like, well, he's got taekwondo, like, and I used to do taekwondo, so like, I'll take him to taekwondo, or like, oh, there's wrestling, so like, I'll take him to wrestling. I used to wrestle, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if there's, but yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we constantly talk through and that kind of thing. But well, you do know as we wrap up this show that there's gonna be a lot of people upset that you're leaving the podcast now.
I'm sure. So upset.
I'm sure. There's going to be people that are going to want to hear from you more regularly.
I say
Oh boy.
if there's something that someone wants to talk about, wants us to talk about or hear about or whatever, I would be willing to come on to discuss those things. But to do a weekly thing, I don't think that's necessary.
No, but you know that would require you every Friday getting makeup on and the whole 9 yards. Like
I usually have to do this anyway.
I know you do, but all right. So guys, that's what we're gonna do. All right. So what I would love to do in a perfect world is bring Jessica in for one Friday a month, and we're gonna leave it to you guys. You can email me. Just go to info@thedadedge.com. Again, info@thedadedge.com. Email me some topics that you would like Jessica and I to discuss. Now, depending on how far your mind goes, and if your mind goes really far into the gutter, I can't promise that we'll talk about certain things, but we will talk about a few things. And everything that you guys suggest, what I can tell you is I promise I'll run them past Jessica and we'll at least talk about them. So, like I said, email me at info@thedadedge.com. Any ideas or any topics you want to discuss. You can also DM me over on Instagram. That's the two easiest ways to get a hold of me is DM me on Instagram @thedadedge or email me at info@thedadedge. Either one of those would be fine. So, guys, I'm going to have a couple of links in the show notes for you though, because this was a marriage related podcast and a theme this month. And by the way, happy 22nd anniversary month as we wrap up here.
Yes, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, you're going to sing for us.
No, it's absolutely terrible. Guys, if you go to thedadedge.com/1359, I'm going to have 2 free resources in there for you. Again, thedadedge.com/1359. I will have in there 25 intimate conversation starters. I've left that in the show notes the past few weeks. This is if you want to feel like dating again and you're tired of the question, how was your day, or what'd you do, or what are we doing this weekend? And you want real questions to elicit a real connection. Go to this show and I'll have a link for you. It's called 25 Intimate Conversation Starters. I'm also going to have a resource in there called 21 Days to an Extraordinary Marriage. That is an email series. It's 15 emails over 21 days. And it's going to give you some know-how and some basic tips and advice and communication skills that you can implement on how to have better conversations and a connection with your wife. So, like I said, go to thedadedge.com/1359. I'm going to have those two marriage resources in the show notes for you. Make sure you sign up for both. They're totally free, but they'll help you a ton. Jessica, thank you this was 5 shows. You actually not only joined me for an entire month, but you joined me for an entire month where there were 5 Fridays, not 4, but 5. So you had to do like a bonus show in this.
Yep. This was your bonus. Get an extra show from me.
I would love to have an extra show from you. I always like it. I always love extra shows from you. It's always good.
You always gotta bring in something dirty.
I do. That's the dude in me. But guys, like I said, head on over to thedadedge.com/1359. Hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. And like I said, if you have any advice for any tips or any things that you want us to talk about, info@thedadedge.com. That's the email address, or just shoot me a DM on Instagram @thedadedge. Gentlemen, from my heart to yours, go out, live legendary. Jessica, would you like to tell these guys live legendary?
Live legendary.
There you go. Take care.